begin on a ship in a rocket beyond the realms of logic. All it took was some belief, and now we're sailing through the stars, a cosmic tour of how we came this far. Beyond the music, past the page, between the lines, into the strange. Beyond the music.
Peace, and love, tribe. Welcome. We are on another episode of Beyond the Music.
Yes.
It is your girl, the goddess.
And it's your man, Rev Grim. And you are here on Beyond the Music, where culture meets consciousness, where strategy meets spirit, and where we talk about the truth beyond the booth. And today, second appearance, we have our brother Kenny L back with us today. Today we just chopping it up. We got our man Black Christ on with us today. And
bless up to the audience. We in here
talking about big things, and big things are going to be discussed today. And today we're talking about Black history. You know, we're going to really dig in on how Black history is important. You know, it's something that is not headlighted in our lives, is not headlighted in our communities. You know, we just think Black history is February. You know, and it's our month of February, but we want to make sure that we are honoring Black history
every day
beyond, you know, just February. You know, Black history is not just a milestone in life. I think we all agree that Black history is America. I call it Black America. It is without Black America, there is no American history. And we can even talk about down to inventions and things that was created, what was built, even before and after slavery. You know, all these things that was put into place was put in place by our people. So we're more than just history. We are the foundation of this whole thing, even down to culture. You look at the culture, you look at everything that's going on in America, even our culture leads in influence, trends. We are the pillar of America. You know, we're the starting pillar. So we're just going to discuss that today, and we really want to kind of dig in deep on how history is important and how it is affecting our communities by not knowing history. Even when I went to school, you know, you love math, you love English, you love science. Most of the time, social studies, it's just that subject that's just like, I really don't want to listen to this. I really don't want to take all these notes. I felt like that. I did good in social studies. I love social studies, but it was nothing but notes and reading. But if I understood then the importance of the history that I was learning, I could have made a lot of less mistakes in life by understanding the person that I am, the heritage that I come from, the bloodline that is born in me, the type of people we come from, other than what has been shown us. You know what I'm saying? So if I knew that in high school, I would have paid attention to what I was reading a little bit more with a little bit more conscious mind. So I have kids now, and I get to look at my son and say, son, history is the most important in understanding who you are as a Black man in this society where they tell us we're nothing, or that we don't have a backbone, or that we're the least, or we're the unfortunate. You know, it's like, nah, you know that history is like, you be ready to stand up like Martin Luther King and it don't, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just kind of let that breathe a little bit. Jizzle, how do you feel about the importance of Black history?
Being that we are the blueprint of the world.
Yes.
There's no history without us.
Right.
There's really nothing without us.
Nothing.
So.
Right. Black, what you got for him, man?
You already know, my guy. Without us,
Talk to him.
we the fundamental foundation of everything in existence. Without our DNA on the planet, there is no other DNA on the planet. So our history, man, is very, very important that we create a pathway where our babies, our children understand that, because at this point, I'm not sure how much they really know this to be a fact, that without us, there is no other DNA on the planet without us. We the very basic, we the first, we the number one. Everything else came from us.
Right.
Point blank and period. It can't be said no other way. There's no other way to decorate it, camouflage it, reword it. It's only that we were first and everything came from us. That's how I feel about it, bro.
Right. And we stand behind you, because that's just the thing. If you just understood first, like
that is reality.
What runs through you is greater than great. You shouldn't be killing each other. You shouldn't be tearing each other down. You shouldn't be trying to hurt each other. You shouldn't want to sell bad things to each other. It's just like, if you understood the importance of the history. Now we got our brother Kenny L with us today. He is I will call him a historical guru. This man knows history, and I know he knows history because, man, I tell you, I have a lot of conversations with my brother, and he's very educational. He's very educational. Most of the things he told me is things I never heard, and that's what we want to be understood when it comes to history. We need to learn them things that we don't know, So I want to ask my brother Kenny L today, why do you think that our history is so minimized still in America? Why do you think that it is just so put on the back burner? In our communities? Why do you think that they still hide our history after all these years and truth is growing up? They're still fighting to hide and put our history as the smallest thing in America. Why do you think that is still a brewing thing?
Wow. Well, first I give complete and perfect praise to Allah, the Creator, God Almighty, eternal and incomprehensible. I ask the honors to His illustrious Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Give honors to the Harbinger Marcus Garvey. Give honors to all past, present, and future leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and each and every one of you that can hear the sound of my voice.
Blessings.
So, why is our history minimized? Man, I think one, it's very empowering when you learn the truth about who we are.
Yes.
When you look at the current narrative about the history of the so-called Black man in America, and how it essentially starts at the end of the Civil War. That's what we're taught. And slavery is that's all that's emphasized.
Right.
So if we measure our history from slavery, anything's an accomplishment.
Right.
But if you go back further, going back to antiquity, go back to Kemet, go back to way before Columbus, discovered that we were already here.
Right.
And when you learn how powerful we are, and our role is functioning essentially as the mothers and fathers of civilization, man, that will empower you and give you a level of confidence, a certain level of accountability.
Right.
And you will approach the world differently.
There you go. Accountability. Yes.
As mothers and fathers of civilization.
Yes.
Not just as a so-called Black man in America doing basic things, but no. Look at civilization. It all came from us.
Right.
So I think the reason why it's being minimized is because of how
the power behind it. The power behind it.
That's a good point, bro. That's a good point you just made.
Is everybody's like, what do we know? What's real and what's not? It's like what they're hiding. The truth is what we're not seeking. We're just listening to what everybody is telling us. But in history, we have to go dig.
Yeah.
Even though somebody may tell you Martin Luther King did this, it's like, okay, you still need to go dig and find out why Martin Luther King did this, how Martin Luther King did this, the reasons behind his movement, because then it kind of gives you more of a structure of this wasn't just a man that was just saying, I have a dream. This was a man that understood, I have to stand against a generational curse. I have to stand against a generational bring down of my people and stand up to a whole nation and for change. And that is phenomenal, because when I think about it, I'm like, yo, how many of us would stand up to the nation?
I will.
Oh, I know you. We yeah, right. We ain't gotta talk about that. But just regular, not even regular people, just our regular communities and our societies. We really don't have the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings and the people that just say, I'm gonna truly just stand up to break a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? Of mind, not even physical. It's of mind, of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that we start to shave our history as more than just, like you said, just slavery. Yep. Because even when you look at slavery, let's talk about slavery. Because I think slavery is a really good standpoint too, because look at what we made it through. Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to be revisited.
Hold up. We went through a time where somebody completely stripped our knowledge, stripped our minds, stripped us physically, stripped us emotionally. They stripped everything from us, right? And they said, we're going to start you over here. We're going to end you over here. We're going to start you over here. Some way, somehow, we ended all the way back over here. As leaders, right after slavery, we was, Black Wall Street, highest marriage percentage.
Even during slavery.
One of these towns being built after a complete strip. Right. After complete strip of knowledge, a set of our people became world leaders. It's like, the understanding of that is deep. You know what I'm saying? It's deep.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to quote Martin Luther King Jr. in his famous "I Have a Dream" speech.
Okay.
He's in the very
beginning,
3 minutes in, he said, and I'm paraphrasing, try to get as accurate as I can to quote, but he said, "The Negro finds himself languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land." So he said that in the beginning of his speech, and he's speaking about the so-called Negro, the so-called Black man, being in exile in our own land.
Yeah.
So when you think about that part of slavery, it still exists today, but it's mental. Mm-hmm. So we have mental slavery to this day, where many of us still use terms, concepts, principles that allude to slavery.
Right.
And we know slavery's been over with since 1865.
Right.
So all the terms and everything that alluded to slavery needs to be left in the past. And it's about just properly educating us. And Carter G. Woodson wrote a great book called The Miseducation of the Negro. Mm-hmm. Carter G. Woodson is the one who started what we know as Black History.
Okay.
But he, in that book, the Miseducation of the Negro, he really emphasizes how, again, the so-called, notice I'm using the term so-called Black man, so-called Negro, because that's not really our identity.
Right. Absolutely not.
That's just a common term, which is a misnomer that was pushed on us as a people.
Right.
So now we use these terms to try to identify ourselves with it, and just in basic English grammar, those are adjectives.
Right.
So it's improper grammar to try to identify somebody using the terms Negro, Black, and color. Those are adjectives.
Right.
So there's a lot about our education that we need to go deeper into so we can correct, clarify, clean up, and then move forward with the right knowledge about who we are.
Right.
And tying back to what I said earlier around being accountable, if we really go back deep into history, the first people to ever enslave anybody was the so-called Black man. So now let's be accountable.
We talk
for slavery.
Now we talking
if
real
we
talk.
Be real. And
was it slavery at that time though?
That's right. Mm-hmm. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. Okay. That means slavery came from us. We did that first. Yeah, we got to be accountable for the good and the ugly.
Right.
We can't just lean on the part that makes us.
Hey, tap me in, man.
And we can blame the so-called.
What you say to that, Black?
I said tap me in when y'all get a chance, because you're right in that aspect. We did but it was different. That slavery wasn't necessarily with balls and chains. You know what I mean? It was more you know, it was more like agreed slavery.
Okay.
But yeah, we definitely invented everything that came. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the exercises that was performed afterwards was stuff that we taught them how to do. Right. And it came right back into play.
Right.
You know?
And I agree.
But you made a great point earlier speaking about like the Civil War. I don't think we've even gotten all the information dealing with the American Civil War. How it came about, how it went, how it was executed, who fought in it, who won the war, like we never really got any clear explanations for our, just recent history when America fought in the Civil War. Like who were the players? How did it happen? Who were the main players? They don't talk about in the history books. They don't talk about the part that Haiti played. They don't talk about a lot of the black soldiers that actually fought in that war that made a difference. You know what I'm saying? So even our basic history got to be revisited. The history, right. Science, math, and how we eat got to be revisited. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been taught, like you said, brainwashed, literally brainwashed to the point where even as we're waking up today, we're still under that same guise of brainwashing because we at times find ourselves at odds with each other while we're vying to find out who we are individually. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you'll find some of us calling ourselves FBA or African or Jamaican or Haitian or this or that. These are titles. These are titles that keep us divided.
Right. Push the
button. So we still have to get back to the core of us, in order for us to find the unity and strength. You know what I'm saying? Not right. In division, it's strength in numbers.
They say anywhere you have a problem, you have to go back to the beginning.
That's right.
Problem always starts somewhere. And I think that's a part that we don't want to go back to. Because going back to the source and the start that's when the healing comes. That's when the hard
That's right.
Like, we got to look back and say somebody taught us completely wrong.
Right.
So that means
completely
and retract everything I've ever was taught. Figure out how to pick apart, add on, take out, and then live a life in a structured form now off the knowledge that I know. And I think that's hard for people to do, even for even religions. It's hard to tell somebody erase everything you was taught.
It's hard, but the truth is too that I think a lot of people are just unwilling.
Right, because what they know now is still so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's right. More comfortable for people to just walk in the light that we're in now. Oh yeah, we're just a little lower, and we're just supposed to struggle, and we're just supposed to live like this, and we just gonna take it on the back and keep on moving. And it's like, no, we gotta heal from this. We have to go back to the beginning and say somebody taught us wrong. Somebody showed us the wrong way. Somebody led us down the wrong path, and now we have to take accountability.
Yeah.
Hey, we are the reasons of these things too. And then backtrack and say, only way that I can start anew is to erase the old. Like you say, that's right. We just have to erase the bad part, the ugly part, and make a new part.
And if I may, just to share my thoughts around this, is we have to your point, be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And then we suffer from the status of grief. Part of this healing process. We have this victim mentality based off the miseducation around what happened.
Right. For some people,
if we own the role of being the first, the original mothers and fathers, everything came from us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, as a parent, am I going to blame my children for misbehaving, or am I going to be accountable?
That's what I say.
For how I raise and talk them.
There you go.
So, if you look at the so-called white man, or the Caucasian, or the Caucasus Mountains, all right. If these people came from us, and if we are their mothers and fathers, then there's nothing that they've done that we really can be blaming them for. Right? And part of the problem that I believe exists is we have this victim mentality coming from a common term. It's called psychoneurosis, mental slavery. It's from dealing with colonialism for many, many years. Generations been dealing with it. And in turn, we suffer through the stages of grief, which is shock, anger, denial, bargaining, and acceptance. So as we're grieving around the history of what we've experienced as a people, the trauma has a damaging effect on us. Trauma changes us physiologically. So many of our people are suffering, and depending on where we are in the stage of the grieving of who we are and what we've experienced. Are you shocked about our history? Are you angry over it? Are you in denial about it? Are you bargaining with yourself? Is this real? Did this really happen? Or have you gotten to acceptance and just accepted what happened? It is what it is, and move forward. Right. And when we move forward, now we can work on the solution. Now we can actually end the victim mentality and start talking about social and economic resolution.
Right. That's the pattern right there. That is the pattern. Accepting and then moving on. Yeah. That's the perfect pattern. Well, we've reached that pattern right there that we have arrived. You know what I'm saying? We've definitely arrived.
It's a part of why we're so, because we just.
And I think that's the hardest part, bro, is embracing it. You know what I'm saying?
It keeps us from moving on. It's almost like not forgiving somebody.
Nobody want to embrace it, bro.
Right.
You got to embrace it, though. You know, that's the only way to overcome your shock and your awe. The only way you overcome. I was talking to DJ earlier about overcoming stigmas, like when you are, when you have these things that you're scared of heights, or you're scared of this, or you're scared of that. You got to embrace it in order to overcome it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you live in denial, then you will never overcome your fear because you're always fighting against it. But you got to accept the fact that you have this fear. So now we got to accept the fact that we've become everything that we thought we wouldn't be. We've become it. And we got to erase that because we've become just like them.
That's good for my next question, because my next question was, what did we inherit that we didn't have, that we don't have to keep?
Yeah, everything about our enemy, bro. We've when they say, I just want to answer this real quick.
Yeah.
You know that story they tell about when a person, not even a woman, because this happened to dudes too. When a guy is abused or a person is abused, after a while, when they're powerless to do anything about the abuser, they just accept it, and in that acceptance, they find a rightness in it.
Right, there you go.
And they find such rightness in that after a while, they might help the abuser to abuse somebody else. I think that's where we are. We've been abused for so long that we're even willing to help the abuser abuse someone else now.
Right. We're willing.
And you see it manifest. You can hear it in the language that you hear people using. When we start talking about get rid of this and get rid of these people and those people and that's the language. That's the way the people that oppressed us used to talk. But now we talk like them.
Right.
So when we could begin to see us in the people that oppressed us, then it's time, I think, that we really, take a breath and take a better look.
Right. That's what we need to talk about. The things that we inherit that we don't have to keep.
Right.
Things that we don't have to live by. Life is choices, and that's what I say about learning. Learning is a choice. It's simply a choice. You can either learn to know history, or you can just choose not to learn it. But we want to make choices to learn, our history, because we're more than what we're saying we are. And it's so much deeper than just slavery. It's so much deeper than silver. It's so much deeper than color, because it's really all about the beginning. It's really all about the beginning. The beginning is the part that we really need to understand. In order to have a new start, we have to go back to the beginning and finish that. We gotta get out these mindsets and get out these generational curses that history has kept us from. And it's all up to us in our Black communities to start empowering. So let's talk about some ways that people can be empowered and learning. because learning is right now seems like something it's just hard for people to want to grasp.
Well, first off, to the brother's point, Black Christ, a great point around the Stockholm syndrome. He's right exactly about that. We tend to identify and accept the conditions that were presented to us, and a resolution to that, in conjunction with, what can we do different in style learning, would be, I would say, do your research and start learning about the history of us as a people. Learn about our nationality.
Right.
I'm gonna share my story, kind of how I got into learning history. There's a few people I studied. First, there was Malcolm X, but I didn't just learn about Malcolm X, just watching videos. I listened to every Malcolm X speech I could find on YouTube. I studied the dictionary the way he studied the dictionary.
Right.
But I studied the Black's Law Dictionary. That was the one that I had present at the time. So for nearly a year, I really studied and read the dictionary, the Black's Law Dictionary, like it was a book. That changed my whole language.
That's a good one.
And I did that because that's what I saw him do in the movie and the documentary.
Right.
And then I saw how he had later became, proclaimed his nationality as Malik El Shabazz. Then I studied Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay.
Right.
Not just as a boxer, but as a speaker. I listened to every Cassius Clay.
A great speaker too. Great speaker.
And I was like, okay, I paid attention to his language and what he was using. That led me down to learn about, Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
Also Robert Croquet, what he did and what he did presented a thought, and that led me to learning about Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So just in that path, I started studying these guys, learning about what they did, and started practicing it myself. And then once I began, really began to understand it, I did one of the things that Noble Drew Ali actually teaches us to do in the literature, which is that we don't believe that these work, take it to those that know law, the government.
Right.
So I did it. I took many of these concepts and I presented to the state government that's in place, and they confirmed it was true. And through this journey, I've been to the White House and the Moorish Science Temple of America. When I visited the White House, they gave us a tour of the ground. I visited, Experience Capitol Hill. I've seen a lot of things just from my opinion, getting on the right side of history and again going out and practicing it. Not speaking radical. I healed myself from things of grief and got over the anger and all the resentment that I had. To the point
gotta get over that anger part.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what stops a lot of us.
Right.
We get angry about what happened.
It stops you from learning. It stops you from learning. It stops you from taking it in because your mind's so focused on being mad at it.
It blocks everything else.
It just blocks everything else. It keeps you from being able to change. It's like you say, in order to see change, you have to actually be the change.
Yeah.
Actually, just like you said,
reading is fundamental, man. From the very foundation of what you said, it all started with reading. And
they say if you want to ask
unfortunately, because of the iPhones and this new tech, ain't a lot of reading being done no more. However, that same information is available on the phone. Everything you said, those books you mentioned, they could look it up on the phone, they could pull it up on the phone, and they could do the same research even easier because the books have been basically laid out for them to read.
The knowledge is there now.
The knowledge is there. You just gotta want it. Press it. Like the information has to become something cool again. Right. It was a time when knowledge was cool. Then it became uncool for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It became uncool. So when it became uncool, nobody wanted to be in that light no more. But it was a time, bro, when knowledge was the coolest shit ever. Right. If you was full of knowledge and you could spit it and build on it, everybody wanted to hear you speak. All the women, all the young pretty ladies. But then when it got uncool and the other thing became cool, it's straight away from that. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have a chance to reposition it because, everybody's talking about the new shift. So we got a chance to reposition it where information is cool again for our kids to learn.
Right. We gotta know to pass this. We gotta pass this on. We gotta make sure we stay in tune on our history, man. We gotta learn. We gotta read. We got to read more.
Yeah, bro.
You have to listen to the book. If you want to know the truth, the only way to know the truth is go find the truth for yourself. You can listen to reels, you can listen to internet, you can listen to people tell it, you can listen to us, give you pointers and give you understanding, but you still have to go obtain that knowledge.
Do the work.
Knowledge is something that we're missing. We have replaced our anger and our ignorance over our education, and we have to lean more into education. We have to lean more into parents and telling our kids history is number one. You need to know who you are, where you come from,
and please do
what
not
you're made of.
On the school system to teach your children.
Oh yeah, because then you'll just
especially when it comes to history.
Right.
We did not learn real history.
No, because you'll just be a 1 month. You'll just know about your people 1 month out of the whole entire year.
Yeah, we learned their version.
Right. And so we have to be mindful that we're at home with our kids, teaching them the history of your people, because so many of our young Black kids are just walking around killing each other, taking each other out, crashing out, and all these things because the lack of knowledge of who they are. They just don't know who they are. And I say that a lot because I'm a youth leader in the streets of Norfolk, and I see this a lot. And it'd be the main thing I tell the brothers. I'm like, yo, you will want to put that gun down if you understood the bloodline that's standing across from you.
Right.
If you understood somebody fought with a gun so you could even have the gun. And you using the gun against your own people.
Right.
Like, that's not the reason they fought for you to have a gun. So it's like we have to be mindful that somebody planted history for us, and we're going to plant history for somebody else 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now. Everything we have done in this time is going to be somebody's history.
Yeah.
We have to make a stand. We have to learn.
We got to, right. I like what you just said, Rev. We got to create a space where we are leaving our mark, man.
Right.
Like, it's our time. Come on, man. What is this? Yes. This era right here has to represent, that it was an era that in that era, this changed.
Exactly.
In this era right here, this happened.
Exactly.
No, we got to leave that mark, man. I agree with you on that.
I appreciate that. And we about to go into a break. When we come back from our break, we'll be going into our financial advisory. Again, beyond the music, this is an episode where we're talking about the importance of history. We need our people to learn about our history, learn who you are, know who you are, because it's the whole balance of who you will be in the world.
Hey, could I add one thing to that when you finish, bro?
Say it again.
I want to add one final note. On a final note, this is just something for the listening ears. Historically speaking, in I think 1995, Omar Gaddafi offered Black America, us here in America, I think $5 billion. He was denied by the American government, of course, because they don't want us to have nothing, right? Just day before yesterday, they killed Gaddafi's son in his home. So that shows you that when the bloodlines are erased, they are erased totally and completely.
Right.
Never you believe that it's anything other than that. They will erase you if they can.
Right. So they're erasing our history. We have to rewrite it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get y'all back.
That's right.
On Beyond the Music.
We out. Hey, we are back. It's Beyond the Music.
Welcome back.
I hope you guys have been enjoying our segment talking about the importance of history.
Yes.
Of course, we're saying Black history, but the truth is, as Brother L just stated to me, that it's history. It's American history. It's history for everybody.
Right.
But now we are going to jump into some financial advice. We're going to hear from our CPA,
Mr.
Clarence Harris. We are glad to have you. Take it away.
What's going on, everyone? This is Norfolk CPA. How are y'all doing today?
We're blessed.
Awesome. Happy Black History Month to everyone out there. So what I want to talk about is when we set up our business, and we've kind of touched on this before, but I want to talk about some of the business entity structures that are available to you. What do they look like? How do you get those things formed? Some of the characteristics of it, and even how it impacts you from a tax standpoint, if you will. So the first one I'm going to talk about, which probably people are the most familiar with and is the easiest to actually form, is a sole proprietorship. Now, the thing about a sole proprietorship, it's one owner, very easy to start up. You could take a young child who goes on their front lawn, sets up a lemonade stand. Guess what? They are actually doing business like a sole proprietor. Now, despite it being very easy to form, the one of the drawbacks of sole proprietorship is they have this thing which is called unlimited liability. So what does unlimited liability mean? Unlimited liability means, in simple terms, there's no distinction between the business and the business owner. So, for example, let's say I have a lemonade stand and someone is coming to my lemonade stand and a potential lawsuitable event happens. I have some ice that's on the ground. They slip on the ice. They may just want to sue. So not only can they sue the business, but because I'm in what we call a sole proprietorship, there's no distinction between myself and the business. So not only can they come after business assets, they can come after my personal assets. So what I would say to you, the entrepreneur or the aspiring entrepreneur, is I wouldn't elect to do business as a sole proprietorship. There's some better options probably available for you. So rule number 5, don't do business as a sole proprietor. Now, what are some other options? Sometimes we may want to go in business with another partner. So another somewhat easy form of entity structure is to form what we call a general partnership. That's where 2 or more individuals come together and they say, hey, we're going to do business together. Now, similar to a sole proprietor, they have what is also called this thing called unlimited liability, which means if a lawsuitable event happens, everybody's personal assets can be at risk as a general partnership. Now, what I want everyone to do, I'm not giving anyone no type of legal advice, so you need to go see your attorney so they can give you all the ins and outs related to your situation. So I'm not giving you the legal advice. But if it was me, I would probably stay away from a general partnership unless you have some other compelling reason to choose that type of form. Again, talk to your attorney. Now, there are some other entity structures that have better protection for you, that don't have what we call this unlimited liability. So we have entity structures such as a LLC. What is a LLC? Limited liability company. We have structures such as a corporation. corporations can come in two flavors. We got the big corporations, C corps. So anytime you buy a stock on a publicly traded stock exchange, they are operating as a C corp. We have smaller corporations that can operate as a S corp. So there's some different options. All of them have different intricacies, if you will. So let's start with the LLC. LLC, right here in the state of Virginia, if you want to get these things set up, these other entities, you're probably going to pay around $100. Go see the State Corporation Commission, or get with your attorney that can help you with setting these things up as well. But limited liability company, it can be a single member LLC, a multi-member. You have different partners that are in this LLC. And the great thing about it, as I said before, it has limited liability protection for you. So if a lawsuitable event happens, essentially, as long as you're running your business the way that a business needs to be ran, then they're not going to be able to go after your personal assets, as long as you're doing all the foundational things you need to do. So that's a great choice, but again, see your attorney. The other great thing about an LLC is, from a tax perspective, it gives you a little bit of flexibility for a tax perspective. The IRS considers an LLC what they call a disregarded entity. So you actually, just for tax purposes, you can elect to be taxed as if you are a sole proprietor, or you can be taxed as if you are a corporation. And depending on what phase of business you are in, will dictate, hey, I want to be taxed like a sole prop. I want to be taxed like a corporation. That's something I would recommend that you talk to your CPA, or your CPA and attorney together. So as an entrepreneur, you got to have the right team on your side. And I like to say you should have your climb team, your CPA, lawyer, insurance professional, marketing professional, and your banker. So make sure you get the right advisors that can assist you with these things. So we talked about possibly an LLC, why that can be advantageous. Corporations, you may be someone who wants to attract a lot of other investors. So maybe a C corporation would be a good choice for you. It also gives you what we call limited liability protection. Now, there are some other intricacies that you have to look out for. So there's a lot of other requirements, documentation, adherence to certain guidelines. So it's not going to be easy to run these things, but if you're in business and you surround yourself with the right team, you'll be able to manage these things. So in closing, as an entrepreneur, and we're taking our business seriously, Norfolk CPA personally, I'm saying, hey, we don't operate as a sole prop. That's my Rule 5 in my upcoming book, 10 Rules for Entering the Business Startup Game. Rule 5, don't do business as a sole proprietor. So with that being said, happy Black History Month to all my entrepreneurs out here in the great state of Virginia and the 757. Norfolk CPA, signing out.
All right. Power to the people. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Beyond the Music. And thank you, brother CPA Norfolk. He just gave us some financial advice, business advice. We always need that, man. That's right. Just like we talked about last episode, our financial health. He is here to give us some financial health tips. So y'all make sure y'all always stay in tune into more than just the interview, but for our geopolitics and our financial advisory. And soon we'll be having a fitness and wellness segment too. Our brother Kenneth L will be producing that. and we'll let y'all know when that's coming up. But we've had a great episode with Kenny L. We're gonna let him leave us out on some remarks on the importance of history.
Wow. Well, what I would say is first, dig deep. Okay, take your time, do some research, and understand that it's very, very important to learn who we are as a people.
Yes.
And learn to love instead of hate, especially as you're going through the process. Because there's going to be some moments where you learn about some things that happen in history that may cause some anger, may cause some frustration. But let's not argue about it. And let's respect our differences, the cultural differences. But I have to just say this, is that the concept of Black history and so-called Black people is unique to us in America. We're the only people on the face of the earth who claim this title. And we're the only people on the face of this earth who actually believe that our history is only a month long. We need to know that, look, Black history or so-called Black history is American history.
It's everything.
It is the history of the world. It is the history of the American people. And if you go to the original definition of the American people, we're the copper tone people that were found here in America when Christopher Columbus came here. We came before Columbus, and it's important that we just learn to love instead of hate, and let's get, learn the truth and learn from all the groups. So that's my
unity. Learn from groups. He said learn from groups.
Everybody.
I mean, learn from everybody. And the only way that we can understand somebody else's walk if we learn from them too. As a part of the unity, as a part of community, that we learn each other, we stick together, figure out our differences, problems, and come up with solutions and chain breakers. We're here to break generational curses, not make them. So let's keep that in mind, that our history is the most important part of where we stand and where we're going. And we're going to be somebody's history one day, so we got to write it over.
Yeah. And last thing I want to say.
Yes, sir.
If you don't listen to anything else that I say, at least proclaim your nationality. Nationality is the order of the day.
Okay.
Please study and learn about Noble Drew Ali, what he brought, what he taught, and learn about the harbinger of Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Well, peace. You heard it best, Kenny L. Goddess, you got something for him to end them out?
Stay in love and light and love each other. Young men, young women, your brothers are not your enemy. Your sisters are not your competition. We are all in the same sinking ship together.
Yes.
So I think the greatest thing that we can do is support each other, encourage each other, and love one another genuinely and unconditionally. That's all I got to say.
And you heard it best. Beyond the music, another episode where we highlight community crusaders, where we talk about topics that's not usually talked about amongst our community, where we talk about truth beyond the booth, where culture meets consciousness and spiritual meets strategy. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to have some great guests this month coming up. It's going to be dope, man. And y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in to Beyond the Music. I'm Rev Graham.
I'm the Goddess. Y'all stay well and blessed and healthy until next time.
Family. Blessings.
Peace.